Paylocity's Futurist in Residence, Elisha Abate, gave an inspiring presentation on the future of HCM. We received a lot of great feedback, but one comment stood out. So we brought Elisha back to sit down with Paylocity's CHRO Jill Morrison to tackle the comment and other common HR pain points head on.
What did you think of the HR leaders comment?
Listen, I can really relate to it. I think it's tough as HR leaders sometimes to take, the big ideas and translate those down to how we're operating every day. So I always appreciate the feedback, and I'm excited to talk more about it.
I echo that. Even though my realm is future in my day-to-day, part of the game is learning how to translate future forward into tools and strategies that we can use to create results and impact right now. So I'm excited about the conversation.
Ready to tackle these together?
Sure am.
Absolutely. Compliance has become one of the top pain points for HR teams. What are some ways we can deal with the complexity and continuous change of helping organizations stay compliant?
Yeah, there's no doubt compliance is getting more complicated every day, but it's our job as HR leaders to balance that, right? So compliance at the core exists to support employees, right? Sometimes we forget that really is what it's about. It exists to support workers, to support, healthy environments for them. Of course, we want to do everything to support that. That said, it's really complicated, and it can be hard to know what is changing and when. It can be so specific to, an individual city or an individual state, and knowing those, especially in the current workforce that is dispersed, right? At Paylocity, we have people all across the country and to some extent across the world. So staying on top of that in and of itself is really daunting. But if you don't, you're putting your company at risk, right? So you can easily unknowingly be out of compliance, and that really has some significant consequences. So for me, it comes down to what and how. First is what? What are the things? How do you stay aware of what's going on? We know as HR leaders, we're more focused on what's happening inside our four walls than everything happening everywhere else. So we have to rely on a source of information on what's going on. So at Paylocity, we have an incredible team. I get peace of mind every day that they're out there watching what's going on and doing that in a way that is as far in advance as possible, right? So knowing what's coming, having time to prepare, time to make decisions as a team. Then it comes down to what you do with it, right? So how do you put that in action? And that has to come with tools to make that easy. So that's everything from the ability to quickly update a tax code to sharing OSHA training or, updating a PTO accrual. It can be all these things on any given day, and you have to make that easy. So having the tools within the system to make that easy gives a lot of help to our team when we're managing, dozens and dozens of changes on any given week or month or year.
Yeah. One of the explanations of Futurist that I really like is from Ray Dalio. And what he says is that what it is not is sitting over a crystal ball and divining, right? Like, because he who sits over the crystal ball is destined to eat crushed glass, something along those lines. And though what he says is when we're looking at the future, it's making the best predictions that we can with the data that we have, doing our best to dance with uncertainty when it's here, and then the key piece, which is mitigating against downside risk to the degree that we can, and that's within the span, scope, and a space of our control. And that's where I see this space of compliance.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It is, I always say we're constantly balancing the needs of the business, the needs of employees, and that's what HR leaders are doing. It's what they love to do, actually, right? But those things aren't at odds with each other, but they're not always completely in sync with each other either. So it can be really challenging to, make it easy to put these things in place, to do what's right by employees and to adhere to compliance, but it can also be challenging to adhere to. Sometimes it just means it's complicated or it's more process or more administration, but we have to find the balance to do what's right for the business and for employees.
Yeah, it's a healthy tension.
Yeah,
it's a healthy tension. When I first started my future of work journey, I learned from a guy named Ichak Adizes, who literally wrote a book called Mastering Change. And one of the things that he talks about is that there are 4 types of individuals that can help an organization thrive. And there are those who are effective and efficient in the short term and effective and efficient in the long term. And the folks who are effective and efficient in the short term are those who are keeping the trains running on time, paying attention to compliance, ensuring that things are working well. And then the long-term balance are folks who are thinking visionary.
Yeah.
But it's once again, it's all and together.
Yeah, they absolutely need each other or they can't be their best at what they do.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, it's a big part of it. Well, thanks, Alicia. It was so much fun to hear your thoughts on the future of HR.
Thank you so much. It was great to be in conversation with you again.
Awesome. We'll talk more soon.
Yeah.